have your mind focused and have a full heart in whatever you're doing. And there's no choice but to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really a big connection. You know, whatever you do in life, it doesn't even matter if it's a sport. You have to be mentally prepared. You know, you spiritually in your heart, you got to be prepared. Physically, you have to prepare yourself for whatever it is. You know, trust yourself and do what you want in life. Don't do things for other people, because at the end of the day, someone you know today, you may not know them in a year from now. So make sure you're doing what you want. Opportunity has always been a big thing for me, whether it's about being hurt, not being present. I've always now had the mindset to stress the fact that opportunity, if I have it, I'm going to seize it and do my best, because everyone doesn't have it for whatever reason there may be.
It's season 5 and you still haven't subscribed to the show? Shame on you. Honestly, it's a shame. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's your choice. I really would appreciate it, though, if you did hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a show. We're in season 5, so I want to say that I appreciate anybody that's been tuned in since season 1, or even if this is your first time ever tuning in. I really appreciate the support, and we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. But like I said, make sure you subscribe and make sure you please smash that like button. I'm not going to start the video until you smash the like button. Seriously, smash the like button. All right, let's go. Ramsey Robinson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, DJ. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on here. It means a lot to me. Been trying to do this for a little while, heavily asked for. So I'm glad to have you on here for sure.
Most definitely. It's been long overdue, so I'm glad to get on.
Definitely long overdue. Ramsey, you were born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama. Talk to me about your upbringing in Alabama.
So, well, actually, my parents they're both military. But I lived in Montgomery, Alabama from 2nd grade all the way through middle school. That was an experience. Definitely rich with history, I would say. You know, Montgomery is probably, I would say, the home for the civil rights movement, especially with all that went on there, being the capital of Alabama, and how segregation really in Alabama was the one that was most presented on national television and all around the world. So growing up there was really cool because I got to experience so much history and see all the houses firsthand, being so close to Selma and Birmingham. It was really nice. And also college football is huge there. So being right next to Tuscaloosa and Auburn, I would say it was really fun getting to experience that Auburn versus Alabama. A real rivalry, you know? That was always fun.
Definitely. I feel like when we first met, that was something we talked about. My parents are both from Alabama. My mom grew up in Selma for a lot of her life. My dad, he's from a small town outside of Montgomery called Prattville, Otago County. So I remember we used to talk about that a lot. A lot of my family's in the military too. Both my grandparents were in the Korean War, Vietnam War. My uncle's in the Air Force. Your parents in the Air Force. So I feel like when we first met and actually started to get to know each other more outside of sports and stuff, it was a pretty decent connection there for sure.
Most definitely. My dad, Prattville that's crazy because my dad, he was the first one that started bringing me out there. It is right by Montgomery. And that's actually where I started. That was my first AU basketball team out there in Prattville. So it's interesting you brought that up. But I have fond memories of going to Prattville High, the PCA, which is Prattville Christian Academy, practicing and stuff. Small world. That just shows you, definitely.
Very small world. After you moved from Montgomery, you guys moved to Brevard County in Florida. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what it was like moving from Alabama to Brevard and what some of the differences were, what it was like adjusting.
Well, I'll say it was a big culture shock for one. Moving to Florida from Alabama, I will say Alabama is a lot more conservative. So coming to Florida, my perspectives immediately opened up and changed. I was so new to seeing all different types of people. In Alabama, there weren't as many ethnic groups. I will say, moving to Florida, you meet people from all different nationalities, races, and that was so interesting, especially considering besides one person I knew that was from his parents were in the military, but they were from Africa. besides him, I didn't really know there was even more Black people. So coming here and seeing like thriving culture, Jamaica, Haitian culture. So that was a really big culture shock to me. And also just the sheer change in sports coming here. I didn't realize, I thought I'd always been a competitive person. I've been competing my whole life, but coming to Florida is when I really found out just how serious it gets, especially when it came to basketball. I didn't play football when I came here, but looking at football is very serious here. I would stay outside of Texas and California, like Florida's top 3, it was just, that was really interesting too. And it forced me to step my game up because I thought I was good. And then I moved to Florida. And even when I tried out my freshman year, I just remember thinking, man, I thought I was good. And these people are dunking and doing all this types of stuff. I thought I was different, but now everyone's doing the same thing.
For sure. That's definitely the case. Whenever you go to a different place, I know anytime you just go to different areas, you see the difference in people, the difference in sports, like you said. It's always like that, especially when you're getting older too. You start to see that there is separation in what you thought was good and what's actually good, how you are as a player versus how other people are. So I definitely agree with that. You talked about playing in Prattville, your first AAU team. How did you get introduced to basketball? Who put the ball into your hands?
My dad's gonna watch this eventually, so I will credit my dad for that. Thank you, Dad. He's the first one that put me into basketball from a young age. We tried. My parents, I did like every sport you could think of, like throughout my life, but basketball is the one I actually stayed with the whole time. My parents were like, basically, I started. My little brother started, and they're like, yep, it's a wrap, especially because my dad has a history in basketball. He's pretty tall. We have cousins that are like 7 feet tall. So like, even though we're not that tall, like it was just like something we've always had going on in our family history. So I put a basketball in my hands since I was young. I started, everyone starts in their little rec league. So I started rec league first. Did you start rec league? I don't know. Did you?
Yeah.
Or did you? Yeah. So, I did that rec league. Then I went to YMCA. And then my dad, there's a kid I actually played rec with on base. And my dad and his dad and this other coach that actually coached the AAU team called the Rim Shakers. We winded up getting in touch with him, getting in contact. We were like, okay, we're gonna try AAU ball. That's how me and my brother first got exposed to AAU. That was interesting because up until that point, I'd always played rec. And so it was very different to actually go out and play other people on a competitive level, multiple games a day. And my first year, I was in 8th grade, but I played up because there weren't that many kids in the program. So I played up 9th grade, and that was a complete game changer because I was playing high schoolers at that point. So that's my beginning experience in basketball. And I will say that's like all the way up until then, I was like, man, like I really, even before after that, but I was like, man, I really like this. And, I wanted to see how far it can go. Because at this point, this is like, if I take it all the way like 8th grade, that's when like ball is life. And I remember home team hoops and all that was it. Everyone was watching that, and I would be watching that with my brother all the time. And we were like, man, like, let's just see how far we can take this. So that's like my first experience. Really, it was my dad who put it in my hands, and me, my brother, and my dad. That was one of our biggest bonding moments throughout my life. So
definitely, I think pretty much everybody has that same kind of start. Like I had the same exact start playing rec league, like you said before. Thought I was good. Started playing AAU against competitive players, going out of the area, playing against good players and stuff. And I realized I wasn't that good. I had to work a lot harder. So I definitely could relate to that for sure. You moved to Brevard. You started playing for Brevard Bulls AAU team. We started playing against each other so much, probably like 5 times a year. Every year we played so many times. Talk to me about playing Brevard Bulls and how we ended up meeting and stuff.
So when my first year, I played freshman in high school, and I was doing really, really well. I would say one of the leading scorers. And then I moved up to JV, and I played with, Samarion and DJ and TJ and VJ and Dorian at the time was already on varsity. He already got moved up. But, I started playing with all of them, and we were like, we were thick as thieves. We were brothers. We did everything together, basically. And so towards the end of the season, they were like, you want to come play with us, play with our team. We have an AU team. It's called Brevard Bulls. I was like, okay. I'm gonna ask my parents. Originally, when we first moved, my parents were like, we're not doing no AU. We're not doing any travel sports over the summer because we need to just get adjusted. So I was like, I reached out on a limb. I asked them, can I do this? My friends asked me, and this was a bonding moment. So my parents saw that and how much, it meant to me to, especially just moving from a whole new state, starting high school somewhere new. They saw how much it meant to me to make friends and do something like this. So they pushed through. I tried out. I played on the A team. We had 2 teams that year. They call it a north-south, but it was really like an A-B team. And it was a lot of fun. Even that year, playing teams like Nike Team Florida, all those teams. Wow, I just remember, and looking back, I remember thinking like, man, even playing, I remember every time it would be like, we have to play Team Tampa, I'd be like, oh my gosh, man. I remember we played you guys in Georgia my freshman year. I forgot where the gym was. I remember we played all my freshman year. I was like, they were like, we've been going against, because y'all were I think some of you guys played in Lakeland Fire, and like y'all had been going back and forth for most of your whole life. And I'm coming in a freshman, and y'all already got a history. Look, yeah, y'all already got like an animosity on the court. And they basically gave me the whole backstory. I was like, okay, like, I mean, I don't really know these people, but let's see. I remember seeing it was you. I remember Darren. I think his name was Chavius, if I remember correctly. Basically the whole lineup. And I was like, I'm watching y'all warm up. You know how you do a layup, you kind of look back at the other side. And I was like, okay, they look decent. I was like, I don't know. I feel like we got this. Fresh out the gate, come out, boom, whoop our butts, like whoop us. That game we got smashed. And I remember I was like, wow, okay. I was like, okay. And that was my first experience just playing y'all and seeing, I guess it was looking like an East Coast, West Coast thing, because this is West Coast, that was East Coast. But I was like, man, this is pretty intense. And of course, you know how it happened at the end of the tournament. But you know how we came back. We beat y'all. We beat the CB3 team. You know what we had to do. But regardless, that was my first time playing against y'all, and just seeing how talented you were. And I was like, man, I want to be like them. So every time we would see y'all, I was like, okay, game face on, game face on, game face on, game face on. And I remember that our coaches already, like your dad and Coach Steve already knew each other. So I was like, okay. So we just kind of got closer and closer. And I remember they were like, okay, we're going to put together like a dream team. I was like, okay. Like I'm thinking like, well, what's like, who's going to be on this team? And he was like, well, we're going to combine y'all, Team Tampa. I was like, oh, okay. So we had you, me, Dorian. I remember thinking, man, we are lit. I mean, we were all huge for our age group. You knew how to handle the ball. We had people who knew how to shoot. People go up and dunk the ball. Dorian, rim shaker, you can do whatever you need. So I remember that experience. And that was a lot. That was a lot of fun. And we actually played. I can't remember the name of his team, but his name is Desmond Williams. And he actually he played for an Alabama team. He now plays at Troy. But we played him when you and me played together. We played him at that tournament at Disney, and I'll never forget that because I thought that was so cool. So a kid that I went to middle school with, kind of played basketball with in my younger days, getting to see him again, that was a lot of fun. But from that point, I remember we all went to Golden Corral after. Our families were all together. We were chatting it up. And I was like, man, something tells you, how you can have a feeling. I was like, something tells you you're going to know each other for a minute. And from there, it just, our relationship just grew. And I remember going through high school. I did play with Bulls a little bit more. I went for Showtime, hurt myself, stopped. But then even now we reconnected, and it's funny how we reconnected through my friend Ray. I was like, man, this is so cool. I remember I remember to this day, her sending me a screenshot of your Instagram and being like, hey, do you know this kid? I see you following him. I was like, yes, I know him. Are you kidding me? She was like, is he a nice guy? I don't know. I was like, yes, 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 yes. So now look at where we're at now. I think like that just shows how full circle life is. You know, that was really cool. That was a really good experience to just see. I was like, oh, I don't know. Just seeing good people come together. That was nice.
Definitely a small world for sure. First, I want to talk about that tournament. Oh man, we definitely waxed y'all the first game.
You did that first game. That first game.
Losing the championship. Geez, I definitely remember that. We lost the championship. The tournament we played together, our team played together at Disney was definitely fun. Just being there. I remember we were in Orlando for like a good week, just chilling, just doing whatever. I mean, I think y'all went back home and stuff because it's closer for y'all. But just being together, playing together, it was definitely fun. You still probably to this day one of my favorite teammates. Like I always thought you were a good teammate and stuff like that. So like when all this came together with me and Ray and like all this stuff, like I thought it was cool that we were like back kind of closer like than we were before. So I definitely enjoyed that experience. And I think it is crazy, like you said, how all this came full circle. It's a small world, like you said at the beginning of the show, for sure. Small world. If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show. After you played with Brevard Bulls, you went to Rockledge High School. Talk to me about going to Rockledge and what that was like.
Just speaks that was culture shock. That I remember my first year. That was probably like the most eye-opening experience in my life, seeing all different types of people. I up until this point, mind you, I either went to school on base, or I went to a magnet school. So I never went to public school. So it was my first experience. This was the first time being in school with so many people who looked like me. It was my first experience for a lot of things. I'd never seen I'd never seen different levels of people. I'd never seen just how bad how bad and also how blessed others are in one area. Because I was so used to life being kind of sheltered. But I'd never seen just how hard some people had it and also just how easy some people had it. So that was a really nice experience coming into Rockledge. I learned a lot at that school, gained a lot of friends. I was in every club. I did every sport. Of course, I played varsity basketball with my boys. So it was a lot of fun. I wouldn't take it back, forever a Raider alum. So.
For sure. Yeah. I talk about that same thing a lot on my show, just over and over with different people, because when you go from charter schools, private schools, magnet schools, like you said, to a public school, I did the same kind of thing in high school. You do get to see what life is really like. That's why I like my public school experience a lot, because I felt like it was setting me up for the real world. You see people that are really unfortunate. You see people that are very fortunate, all in the same area, like you said, and you get to just get a feel for how life really is. You get to meet these different types of people. You see how you interact with different people. So I definitely feel that what you said about public school and the difference and stuff like that. What about playing varsity basketball? You played for a couple years. You dealt with some injuries. What was it like dealing with the injuries that you dealt with and just deciding that you didn't want to play basketball anymore?
I'll start with it was a lot. I will say basketball, I told you my dad introduced it to me. I did it with my brother. It was kind of in life how you'd always have you create your thing, you have God, you have your family, and then everyone, I would say after God and family, everyone has probably something different after. For a long period of my life, it was God, family, basketball. So from my first, I hurt my hip, both hips actually in high school, my hip flexors. I was on crutches for a minute. Those are my first injuries. First time really getting hurt and having to sit out. I was okay. but I was like, I'll be fine. Then my sophomore year, this was, we had a lot of talent coming up that year, because I will say, like, my class 2018 was really strong too. That was with Zay Stevens, Robbie Hicks, and all them. But we had a really strong class moving forward. So my sophomore year, we were pushing it. We were practicing all the time. That's when I started. I was dunking like towards the. I could go off 2 feet my freshman year, but in the end of my freshman year, going to sophomore year, that's when I was like coming off 1. That's when I was actually able to do it in game and stuff. So that's when I was really like, okay, like, time to take it serious. Cause I was really like an uncoordinated kid. So when I got to that point, I was like, man, this is it. So sophomore year, we're at a tournament at Stetson. Up until this point, I was like, I didn't see anyone. We were waxing everyone we played. I went up for a dunk. It was at the Stetson camp, and I just basically went up, and I like jumped. And when I left the ground, I just like it just hurt it felt like a pop. Like you heard, it almost sounded like a rubber band snap, and like came down, and I was like screaming. I won't say the words I was screaming, but I was screaming. And I remember like everyone was like gasping, like walking away. And I remember my coach like immediately running out and like covering my leg. He was like looking at me. He's like, "You're okay?" Like talking to me. I was like, my leg hurts so bad. They were like, no. And I remember the ambulance getting there after I laid there for like 20 minutes. My parents weren't there. So my friend's mom, Zay's mom, Letitia, really nice lady. She was with me that whole time. I remember her coming and like making sure I was good. And I was like, why won't anybody see my leg? But then I remember the ambulance got there, and the paramedics like start the IV. They start asking you questions, checking your blood pressure. And I was like, they're doing a lot. I just hurt my leg. Like, I don't know what's wrong. And I just remember looking at my leg, and it was just basically I fractured my tibia. It wasn't a compound, but basically what happened was the bone that's like under your knee, your patella, there's basically a tendon attaching those. And that tendon just pulled way too hard, and the tibia just got pulled up. So if you can imagine, like, you have your knee, I just had another like big bump in my knee. So obviously it was broken. The bone was basically poking the skin. It was pretty ugly. But once the medicine kicked in and my adrenaline was like still up, I was like, fine. Got to the hospital, stayed overnight. That was my first surgery. And I was like, I'm okay. It's only my sophomore year. Hopes are high. Fast forward to September that same year, Titusville, Ohio. I went up for a scrimmage. Jordan, he actually played with us on the Bulls, so that's another one of my boys. Jordan, Cario, he actually at UG right now. He's doing really well. But we went up to play them at their high school, the UCF. There was a UCF recruiter there, and we're like getting up and down. I'm like, man, I'm feeling good. And boom, same thing kind of happens on a fast break. This time, it was really bad though, because it was a compound. So when you have a compound break like I had, basically your skin breaks and the bone, says what's up to the world, comes out. That was probably the most gruesome one. And I remember they brought me into the the emergency room, and the doctor, the first thing he says to me, which I don't know why you would say this to a kid, but first thing he says to me is, I don't know if you're gonna play basketball again. You're probably not. And so immediately, boom, that was like, I don't know, that was a lot for me. So like that junior year, going to that junior year, I was being wheeled around school. Eventually I made it to crutches and a walker, but that was probably one of the hardest years I've had so far, and I'm pretty young, but basketball was a big part of my life. And so to have it taken in that manner, especially when it's all I had known, I was just watching TV, sitting on the couch, couldn't really do much else, but wasn't eating, it was just a really hard time. So moving forward, I did, coming my senior year, I had a really big choice. what I was going to do. I talked to my physical therapist. I worked really hard. I did swim first to get my body right. And I winded up being able to, I did like 2 tournaments in July getting into my senior year of AU. And then I actually was able to play in my senior year. So that was a lot of fun. At least like I wasn't back to full 100%, but I was still able to, move around. And it was just nice to live out my senior year. And that was my senior year. During that winter tournament, we went to Kingdom of the Sun. That's where OCP usually goes. Windermere. A lot of really big schools in Florida usually go. And we did really well, and I made all tournament team. I think that was like kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. Kind of like I'm good now. Like it was like I feel good. I'm fulfilled. So that's when I think it kind of started settling that I feel okay if I'm going to give it up right now, because it's clearly a lot of my body. But after that, I was like, I remember my coach was like, so we got to try to start talking to schools and sending film out. I was like, I'm good. I feel like I accomplished a lot, got some trophies here and there, got to play with cool guys like you and the boys at Rockledge. So I was okay with giving it up, especially because it was on my terms at that point.
Definitely. I feel like that actually just makes me happy to hear that, because a lot of people, they don't, like, when they go through things like that, they don't get to go out on their own terms, like you said, and they don't get to feel that gratifying moment like you said that you got to feel. So getting to hear that you got to go out like the way that you kind of wanted to, that makes me feel good as a friend, and just hearing it from afar. Like I couldn't, like, just coming back from smaller injuries like rolling your ankle. I had knee surgery before, but like just hearing what you went through makes me feel like all that is just so like minute compared to breaking your leg twice. Like, oh, I mean, you definitely deserve the props for even trying to play. A lot of people probably wouldn't have even tried to play again. So definitely happy to hear that for sure. After your senior year, you ended up going to USF. Talk to me about what it was like just going to USF. You were a student, just adjusting to the college lifestyle.
Okay, so that was another big transition in life. As an athlete, your whole life, anyone will tell you when the day they decide to stop being an athlete, just how big of a transition that is. Because you and me, we're used to, you wake up, you may work out, or you may not, but you go to school, you have your practice clothes in your bag with your shoes. And you go to whatever sport you have, whatever, track, basketball, football, whatever it is, you have your clothes with you, go to practice after school. And then after school, you probably go home. You may go to the courts, or you may go do fives with your friends. That's what you do on the weekends. You run up and down, you play church leagues, whatever sport you do, that becomes like part of you. So then when you make that transition, you're like, okay, I'm going to let it go. You have so much free time. You're like sitting there, you're like, okay, I'm done with my homework. I've studied. What do I do? Like up until then, like I didn't consume nearly as much like TV and stuff. I wasn't on my phone nearly as much. Like it really, like your first, I will say your first time without like actually doing whatever sport it is that you do that was a big change for me. I took it pretty positively. I could have did a lot better. A lot of people will jump right into working out. I kind of started working out, but I don't know. I was just partying and like being a college freshman. Whether I use that time responsibly or not, that is a good question. I mean, my freshman year, straight A's, I was fine though, like as far as school wise, but outside of that, I was just living it up. I mean, I had a lot of fun, but I definitely knew that I needed something because sports gives me structure. It requires me to have a schedule. So I started doing intramural club volleyball at my school, like the second half of the semester of my freshman year, and that was a lot of fun. And then COVID hit, but yeah. So definitely having a first year of no sport, I think I needed that, and it gave me experience to speak on when I talk to other people, and even to people, other athletes now they're on my team, I can like be like, oh, well, this is a lot of fun. Make sure to look forward to this. But also I can be like, take in the time you have now. Cause I did a year where I did nothing. And trust me, every day you're like, man, I was literally always playing intramural basketball. I was at I was at the rec like every day, getting up shots, going up and down the court, just because I missed it. So that was definitely really interesting. And it was a good life experience.
I definitely can somewhat can understand. I'm still playing sports, so like I don't know exactly how it feels for an extended period of time other than COVID, but like being an athlete, it does give you structure for sure, because you got to do your schoolwork, you got to do this, you got to get stuff done, you got to be in a certain place at a certain time. But like nowadays, when I have days where I don't have much to do on my schedule, like those are the most like unproductive days for me. Like when I don't have anything to do, because you just be chilling and you feel like there's no, like you got all the time in the world, but then when you look up, you're out of time to do something for the day. So like, I definitely feel that for sure, how that could be for a long period of time. If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show. You talked about needing the structure that you had before you got into cheer at USF. What was that process like, getting into cheer, and how did you realize that you enjoyed it?
Right. So I actually, when I was younger, I did gymnastics. I did literally every sport, but I did do gymnastics when I was younger, and I did do cheer for like 2 years. And it was pretty cool. I liked to flip. It was a lot of fun. So moving forward, I came to Florida just to straight basketball. Came to college. I was my freshman year, actually. Went to the tailgate, I had fun with my friends, and we went to the football game, right? So we're at the football game, having a lot of fun. I enjoy watching football. Playing it, no. But do I enjoy it? Yes. We're watching the game, and I just remember seeing the cheerleaders, and, they're throwing stunts, doing pull-ups, rewinds, toss libs, you name it. And I'm like, man, that looks pretty cool. I was talking to my friend. I was like, I could do that. And they're like, you can do that? I was like, yeah, I can do a flip. So I go do a flip at halftime. They're like, wow, you can do that? I was like, yeah. And they're like, you should do that again. I was like, you know what? You're right. I should do that. So I made in my mind, this is gonna be my drive. I'm gonna get back to competing again, and I'm gonna do cheer. So I worked so hard. I paid for privates at Brandon All Stars, which is like one of the top gyms in All Star cheer right now. They win worlds like every year. That's like it's basically like an international, like really big competition. But I was training there, getting my tumbling back, going out in the grass. COVID hit also. So COVID hit in the middle of my freshman year while I was working, doing these skills with one of my close friends, Kira Hill. She was on All Girl, actually, and she's going to be returning next year. But we're working, doing our skills. Then boom, COVID hit. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do? For a lot of sports, that was really detrimental because training got shut down for like everybody. So I'm sure you can speak to this, like same, basically you went from like practicing, training, and then they were like, oh, this new virus showed up over it, but it's in China right now. You're like, we're good, still practicing and training. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, there's a first US case of this virus. And we're like, okay, still practicing and training. Then boom, they're like, okay, can't come in. You guys can't come in. And it was like, okay, it's just gonna be a week. And it became 2 weeks, and it became a month, you know what I'm saying? And then just like that, they started, I remember they were taking down rims at outside parks. They took out soccer goals from parks, and it was just like, we don't want people near each other just because how bad this virus is. So that affects cheerleading a lot because I have to, stunting, when I'm stunting, I have to throw a girl. I have to throw her doing the flip. I have to throw her doing this, but you can't touch someone. That completely changed the game. So that whole summer and part of the spring when I was training to try out, it was really focused on, I started working out really heavily, doing a lot of HIIT workouts, not really strength, but a lot of HIIT workouts, just pushing my body, going outside, doing tucks, I started running, just trying to get in shape. And I winded up trying out towards the end of summer. There was 3 rounds. The first round starting in May. I had to submit videos. Then I did an interview. And then I went to do an in-person tryout. However, COVID flared up again in Florida. So they just offered me the spot because they already had my previous videos and they already interviewed me. And boom, I'm on the team. So that was a lot of fun. And it was really mentally, it was a real mental win for me, especially because I made the decision I wanted to do that. And I worked so hard. I remember nights that summer, I would just be like, man, am I really gonna be able to do this? But I'd be like, you have to just keep trying. And I worked every day. So it was nice to decide I wanted something and to work and to get it, to join this program. So that was definitely a lot of fun.
For sure. I'm definitely familiar with Brandon All-Stars. A lot of the girls, I'm from Tampa, of course. So like a lot of the girls and people I know went there or practiced there, stuff like that. And like, I remember seeing, like, obviously I was in college in Gainesville. So like, I wasn't here, like we weren't hanging out and stuff, but like I would see you going to the gym and like how hard you were working and stuff. So I was like happy to see that everything was going how you wanted it to, for sure. I definitely think people don't realize how hard it is to do what you guys do. And ladies also, like how much work you guys put in. Like even this past summer, like I remember I saw you one day at the sports complex at Wiregrass, or like anytime I would come to Tampa to like for a raid to hang out and stuff like that, you would be going to the gym or going to stunt or going to practice. So like I definitely can understand, like it's just like any other sport. I feel like people probably don't give you guys and ladies the credit for cheerleading. I remember coming up in high school and guys would be being ignorant, arguing with girls, telling them cheerleading is not a sport and stuff like that. So like, I never was that person. I respect all athletes, even if it's professional people that play tag in the obstacle course. I think that's tough.
Right.
Like I respect everybody's grind. So I definitely could see and appreciate, and I'm happy for you that you're in the position that you are now, doing something that you love to do. You guys did very well in competition last year. Talk to me about that and what you're looking to do this year. Like, what have you been able to accomplish so far since you've been a part of the team, and what are you looking to do this year?
So last year we won Division I. So it's just like any other sport. You have your different divisions, but we won Division I college nationals for UCA cheerleading. So basically, if you can think of all those, like Ole Miss, Ohio State, Alabama, Hawaii, Kentucky, UCF, and a lot of other schools that have that are in our Division I program all compete. And basically we came out on top. Our routine, we had one drop both days, but it was a 50-50 year last year. So basically both routines you performed went to 50% of your score, and we wound up coming out on top. That was a lot. And it meant a lot to us because last year during the COVID year, nationals wasn't until April. So right now we have it 10 days out, but if it was like last year, we wouldn't be competing for another January, February, March. Another 3 months at least. So it was a lot of days, hard work to kind of like now. Right now, like we're trying to do the same thing. We're competing every day when we come in to practice. We're doing 2 days. So basically what that means is at 24/7. So, well, not 24/7, but for 7 days a week, you have practice. It's like a 9 to 5 job. So today I started at 9 is when I got there. I got to the gym at like 9. I got home at around 4:35, I think today. You get an hour lunch in between. You are literally practicing basically all day. It gets tiring. People get hurt. I had hurt my leg for a period of time, so I couldn't be on traditional mat anymore. A lot happens. You get back injuries, spine, knees, ankles, shoulders, you name it. Just sincerely on the fact that you're practicing every day for at least 6 hours a day. That's naturally gonna happen. Bodies are gonna break down. But we do this all for the next, what's gonna happen in 10 days to hopefully come out on top again, because that feeling is like no other. I remember them saying they bring the final 3 onto the mat when they announce it. So it was us, Kentucky. First they announced who the final 3 made it. We heard we made the final 3, celebrated, gathered ourselves, went to the arena. It's at ESPN Wildwood Sports. It's really the UCA National. So you have experience playing there. It was in the HP Arena. It was Kentucky, UCF, and USF. They announced third, first, Kentucky. Mind you, Kentucky's won like for 15 years out of the last maybe like 13 years it's been done. They are legit. So they get third. We're like, whoa, what's gonna happen? UCF the day before had like 3-4 drops, but to that day they hit 0. And when I say hit 0 in cheer, that means basically every stunt you throw, every tumbling pass you do, sticks, everything hits, and you basically it's almost like putting in for something, and the minimum you can get is like a 90 basically, because you did everything you could, you hit. Now everything else is just up for interpretation. So that's in UCF. They call second, first, of course. And since we're both University of South Florida, University of Central Florida, so when they're saying the name, you don't know for a really good period of time. So like University of Central for second, and we were like, So I just remember like celebrating, and then after that, of course, they announced us and we won. And so I'm really chasing that feeling again right now. So gonna have to wake up and do it all again tomorrow. We have arrival of 9:30, I think, tomorrow though. So arrival of 9:30. But when she says arrival of 9:30, that means be there at 9:15 at the latest.
Definitely. On time is late.
Yeah.
Early is on time. You already know how it goes. Definitely. Well, first I saw that last year that you guys won. I was trying to remember. I didn't know exactly that it was a national championship. That's major. If I won a national championship, everybody in the world would have known. I'm happy for you about that. I hope that all your hard work and everything pays off again. 10 days out from the next national championship, all you guys got to do is just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure y'all are well prepared. So I hope it goes in your favor again. That would be pretty awesome to two-peat. Not many people get a chance to even make it to tournaments. For us, like, it's hard to make it to the NCAA tournament for basketball or football, to make it to a bowl game, things like that. So the opportunity to go back to back, I hope you guys seize it, because that would be amazing for sure. That would be crazy. I'd be super happy for you, definitely.
If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show. We talked about cheer and what you've been able to accomplish so far, what you're looking to do in a couple of days, hopefully back-to-back national championship. I know you take education very seriously. What are you looking to do after college and after cheer?
So my major is biomedical sciences. I'm double minoring in anthropology and sociology. And my plan is to do with those. I really want, I have like a couple of degree paths that will get me to certain careers that I'm interested in. One being med school, of course. I want to take a year off and then hop into med school. Another being getting my master's in African American history first, because I really like social sciences. And I really like hearing about my people and learning about them. Genuinely do. I take a lot of classes around that and like prejudice and how it affects healthcare and stuff. So I'm looking to maybe intertwine that with anthropology and study health disparities in the medical field and see how I can improve that, especially in the United States. And I'd probably focus on African Americans specifically. But I would try to, of course, create an overall difference as far as health disparities go in this country. That's 2. Third path would be graduate in fall 2022. And then I would like to probably enlist for 4 years. And then I'll be commissioned in the Air Force, take my 4 years, get out, and they'll pay for my schooling. And then I'll go to med school. And then I'll be more set. It feels right. I almost went to the U.S. Air Force Academy before I decided on USF, but I decided it wasn't for me. But I don't know, for some reason, the Air Force is always in my mind. I think it's maybe because my parents are both in it, but I'm thinking maybe going that route as well. So either way, I don't think I can go wrong, but all of them, basically, I want to do something in the healthcare field, taking care of people or making sure people are getting the healthcare they need,
Definitely. I think that, to me, it sounds like you got it. Obviously nobody, I realize that nobody in life really has everything down pat. Even the people we look at the most for advice and stuff, nobody has life all the way figured out. But I feel like just having a plan or plans is the best route you could take. So like you said, you could just keep working them. And I hope you figure out I know you'll figure everything out the way you want it to, because you're just destined for greatness. I'm really happy that I got the chance to talk to you about this. I feel like a lot of people are be interested in hearing about everything that you talked about, like your upbringing. I know a lot of people saw you playing basketball. Now they see you doing cheer. Everybody knows you're a bright guy. So I'm happy for this to come out and everybody see what you had to say. I'm excited for sure.
Most definitely. And I appreciate you having me on the show.
No worries. It's definitely my pleasure. Also, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I say that so much because I really do, but I appreciate it. Last part of the show, I call it crunch time. We all know what crunch time is, fourth quarter, when things are winding down. Y'all are about to be in crunch time, 10 days out from the national championship. Just last part of the show, a couple quick questions just to wrap things up.
Okay.
What's been the biggest obstacle that you've had to face to get to this point?
Probably injuries. That's been the biggest obstacle, most definitely. Getting hurt. So
what would be the best advice you would give to your younger self?
Trust yourself and do what you want in life. Don't do things for other people, because at the end of the day, someone you know today, you may not know them in a year from now. So make sure you're doing what you want,
For sure. What's one or two quotes that you take, that you live by, that you just keep with you all the time?
So there's one. I have it on my arm, actually. I got it tattooed, but I found it like 3 months ago, and I've been it's been something I look at every day since. It's Control, Alt, Delete. Control yourself, alternate your thinking, and delete negativity. I try to live by that right now. And another one is fear is a disease and hope is the cure. So you can apply that to cheer or just basically any other sport. If one person has fear for whatever is to come next, it spreads like a disease. But if you all have hope and you believe you can succeed, that'll cure any doubt, self-doubt, or doubt in what you're standing for. You know what I'm saying? That's something I try to go by as well. So
definitely, both of those are real powerful for sure. What's something that a random person wouldn't know about you, but your close friends, your family, they know about you?
I'm really big into like I don't really tell, all I do is post working out and stuff like that, or like cheer or whatever. But I'm really big into like Star Wars and Marvel and stuff like that. So if you know me, I'm probably gonna be watching Star Wars or something like that, something to that effect, or playing a game. But most other people probably wouldn't know that because I don't really post it or advertise it.
For sure. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Closed minds, full hearts. That's something that it's on my nationals ring, but it's something we talked about a lot last year as our team. Have your mind focused and have a full heart in whatever you're doing, and there's no choice but to succeed. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that ever since my coaches said that, I've always thought about it. I've been like, man, because it's really a big connection. Whatever you do in life, it doesn't even matter if it's a sport. You have to be mentally prepared. You spiritually, in your heart, you got to be prepared. Physically, you have to prepare yourself for whatever it is. So
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I will hopefully be getting ready, or I will be in med school. I want to be in a big city, so preferably like New York or California, somewhere, even in Florida, somewhere. I want to be in a big city, in an apartment. I want a dog. And yeah.
Is Tampa big enough? Tampa's not big enough?
It's not. I don't know. I'm just, especially my whole life, I've just been going place to place. I think I'm just like, okay, what's next? It's not so much. I love Tampa. It'll always be part of me. I'll probably always come visit, but I'm ready to see what's next in life.
For sure, nothing wrong with that. What's your why? What keeps you motivated to just keep waking up, striving for greatness, and doing big things?
The fact that everyone doesn't have the opportunity to do the things I get to do, or to meet the people I get to meet. So I always try to be like, whenever, for example, at the end of every nationals practice we do a candle. So you pass a candle around, and you talk about your day, you shout people out, you just talk to everyone, and everyone's quiet. And every time I get the candle, I'm always like, hey, everyone, happy, thankful to be here, because opportunity has always been a big thing for me, whether it's about being hurt, not being present. I've always now had the mindset to stress the fact that opportunity, if I have it, I'm going to seize it and do my best, because everyone doesn't have it for whatever reason there may be.
Definitely. That's major. If you could meet and spend a day with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Whitney Houston. She's the best singer of all time to me. So it's number one. I got to meet Whitney Houston. Kobe Bryant, because being an athlete and a competitor who always wants to win, it would be so cool just to probably spend lunch or even a day with him and see what he has to say about what I do. Because I'm like, the things he says in his interviews, they apply to every sport, not just basketball. Like waking up, training, having certain mindsets, knowing your teammates and how to address them. Just the way he went about basketball and how efficiently he was at preparing himself for games and his career, because it's a career, you know, in the NBA. I want to apply that to, you know, cheer, you know, getting ready for med school, becoming a doctor, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he would be really cool. So I have Kobe Bryant, Whitney Houston. Who's one other person I'd like to meet? Probably, I don't know, I'll just say Nicki Minaj, just because we listened to her music for so long, and she's a pretty cool rapper. And she, I know a lot of people say Missy Elliott and like all the others, but to me, for female rap, the way it is today is because of her. How everyone is so cool with just talking about whatever they want to. She's one of the first to do it. So it's her. Actually, no, yeah, it is her. So yeah, her. So Nicki, Whitney, and Kobe Bryant.
Definitely. I like that 3 right there. That's a tough 3. I think you're the first person to ever say both Whitney Houston and Nicki Minaj. I got Kobe a bunch, obviously, because most of the people I talk to are athletes, but I definitely like that 3 right there. Last question, final question. Who do you think is somebody I should have on the show next? Whoever you say, you got to plug me in. You got to help me get them. Who do you think I should have on here next?
Who do I think? It's interesting, because I know a lot of people who do. Let me see. I know so many people who do sports in college. Let me see. I would say definitely you should do either, you know, DJ, who we both played with. He's over playing in Texas right now. Him, I would say Cario, if we can get him on here, that would be really cool. I'm going from Small Titusville all the way to UG. And I got to think about some more, because I know I'm sure there's a lot of people I'm just not thinking of right now, but there's probably a lot of other people.
Cario, DJ, if y'all ever see this, come tap in, come be on the show. Let's chop it up. Talk about life, talk about everything. I'd appreciate it. Ramsey Robinson, again, thank you for coming on here. It's long overdue, very long overdue. Definitely happy that we got this done. I'm really excited to see what people have to say and what they think about the episode. I think this is one of my favorite ones we've done so far, because I've been waiting so long to do it. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media, any social media you want to plug in.
You can find me on Instagram. It's your man Rams. So your man Rams, RAMZ. So yeah.
Yes, sir. I'll have that down below in the description. Ramsey, is there anything before we log off that you want to tell anybody? Anything, any motivation, anything you want to tell somebody that's listening?
Not really. Just if you think cheers in a sport, I suggest you try it. So that's about it.
Definitely. Ramsey Robinson, again, thank you. And that's it for the show.
All right. Thank you so much.
If you're tuned into this show through YouTube, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody you think should tune in. If you're listening to the show through a podcast service or a streaming website, please subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about the show.